Yo, that's your boy Pomatic. Welcome to GSD TV, short for Godspeed TV, with your host Pomo, aka Spiritual Bruce Lee. I'm gonna start on before we get into the session tonight. We're gonna talk about Saturn shadow moon matrix, but particularly the shadow moon matrix. We're gonna get into how it relates to the spirit box and how it relates to Gematria. And we're gonna break down some of Gematria tonight too. First, I want to meditate. We're gonna get into a technique I've got called dragon breath, dragon or fire breathing, or Dumo or Sparana, but aka fire breathing, or the dragon technique. And that consists of breathe in, you push out through the stomach. So you breathe in, count to 10, breathe out. But you breathe in with your stomach and your nostrils. So when you breathe in, you push your stomach out. And when you breathe out, you push your stomach in. So you breathe in, count to 10, breathe out, count to 10. And that's how you instantaneously get inside a pyramid. You know what I'm saying? Some of y'all be wondering about pyramids. How you get instantaneous knowledge, or how you go into a beta realm or a trance. You know what I'm saying? Just say you're in a situation where you want to block out the external, you breathe, count to 10, breathe out. And if you're real good at it, you can do it to 20. And what I do is you do the 6-point star. You know what I'm saying? You can crack the trays, you can do the Buddha crack the trays, the meditation. I can do the unknown sign, you know, the index finger in, or you can do both hands up or both hands down. I do the unknown. With the legs crossed, the unknown side, both index fingers in. And I breathe in my stomach, count to 10, hold it, count to 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Breathe out through the nose. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Breathe in again with the stomach poking out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We're gonna start practicing that. Try that with some weed. Watch our mummified state you be in then. We're gonna try practicing that right before we start most of our shows. Or I might just come out the blue, out of ether. You know what I'm saying? Breathe, nigga. Count to 10. In, out, 10. In, out, 10. Like that. You know what I'm saying? Through the stomach. Push the stomach out, in. Inflate the stomach out through the nose. You know what I'm saying? And you just stop whatever you're doing and do it. You will see. You practice that long enough. Try to get to 20. 20 count. Try to get to 1 breath per minute. Like I said, it's Godspeed TV tonight episode. We're gonna talk about the shadow moon matrix, correlation to spirit box, correlation to gematria. I'm gonna break down some of what gematria mean and how you can better understand it. You know, instead of just putting in numbers, reading the numbers, you can put in phrases and questions, or even your name, and see the energies that goes into your name, or all type of events and phrases, situations. Like I say, practice the fire breathing. We're gonna call it the dragon technique, into the dragon. So when you breathe in, push the stomach out with your stomach, then breathe out through the nostrils. You do not use your mouth with this technique. And when you breathe in, you count to 10, hold it. Breathe out, count to 10, hold it. Breathe in, count to 10, hold it, and do not skip a beat. Once you realize that, time will go by fast, and you will be in a supremely highly state of mind. You will be high. And just say, you get into a jam or situation, try that. You know what I'm saying? It's going to level you out first to just normal breathing. Because when you breathe heavy, you go into animalistic thinking, fight, flee, to fight, like that. And you can't think straight. So a lot of people get panicked. They say panic, you make the wrong moves. So what you naturally do is just calm down, bring yourself back to a normal state. Now, what we want to do is go past the normal state into beta state, into the actual dream world state, into the ether, like spirit on earth. AKA you disconnect the will, the involuntary will you bring to the forefront, and then the voluntary will you push to the back, like that. Think about that. When I say voluntary will, it's the stuff that run your organs, your functions, your pitch, stuff you don't even think about. That bring that to the forefront, and then bring all the external, ego mind to the back. So that's what the dragon technique is, or the fire breathing. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, it's your boy Bruce, spiritual Bruce Lee, aka Pomo with Godspeed TV, Bruce Spiritual. I'm gonna play a clip as we get into this. I'm gonna cut this off real quick. I like to get into that, the meditation, the act, let that play a little bit. You gotta roll your bloods. But we take care of something. We're gonna get this nice show started. I'm gonna read some of y'all first. Then we're gonna get into it. I'm gonna read something from the archons. I'm gonna find it, let me pull it up. I'll get everything set up, y'all. I'm a little slipping right now at this moment. I got you. Trust me, Paul. No. And tonight we're gonna talk about Gematria and the fire letters. You know what I'm saying? And how it correlates. But I'm gonna walk you up through when they it's basically more we basically basing this off spirit box. And I know a lot of you people wondering why spirit box, and you kind of trying to figure out where are these people. You know what I'm saying? What's going on here? What do they mean? Dark room, dark places. Things of that nature. And I'm gonna explain it to you because I kind of got an idea of what's going on. But we're gonna skip right past Saturn shadow moon matrix. We're gonna get down to we're gonna start with the moon. You know what I'm saying? But let me see where I make sure I'm at the right spot. I can bring it up. Okay, gotcha. Right here. 125, one. All right. We relaxed today. I'm in here breathing. I'm under under the Buddha Act. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, the Buddha Act, gutmo breathing, fire breathing, dragon technique, yoga style. I get you to the highest elevated mind instantly. If you want to, instead of traveling to rather go see the pyramids, going through that, the initiation. If you want to, we got these powers now. You can go straight into spirituality instantly, depending on the way you breathe. Because when you slow the heart rate down, you got to think about it. That's how you go to sleep. And then when you go into sleep, you go into dream world. And when you're in the dream world, you're in the spiritual world. You know what I'm saying? Like me, with the spirit box, y'all wonder how I feel to be in that spirit box. It's like what I got in my dream, I have a bad problem using phones. I cannot use a phone for shit in my dreams or find my cop. I had those problems, you know what I'm saying? And it's like trying to use a phone. And in my dreams, it's just some reason I get lost. It's like the number I tap don't come up or something go wrong. So that's how I feel being in the spirit box, is like a brain. And I did notice, just to share with y'all before I forget, that in that some people talk about green pastures or even, an alternate reality. And what I'm starting to realize is that those people, I think, have came down through the whole back to Earth through the 3D, 3 dimensional reality under the Reincarnation Act, and they might just be asleep in their bedroom because a lot of them like, Joe, I'm in the bed, I'm at home, and he like, home, like, yeah, I'm at home. So they just think about that for a minute. A lot of these spirits might not be still stuck in purgatory or darkness or on the moon or in the moon matrix. A lot of them might be even got sent back down here. So when they tell you that they seeing like realities, like, yeah, I got a car over here, or we, at the studio, I think they have reincarnated back on the earth. And when he say in my room sleep, or in my room, I mean he sleep, he dreaming. So I think a lot of times they do be talking to reincarnated spirits. It's more harder to get through, but I think you be talking to reincarnated spirits that's already here too, versus them stuck in purgatory. That's something to think about. I'm talking about spirit box. I forgot the name. Or paranormal gold rush or something like that. But we're gonna get into that too. So just take that with a grain of salt. Pomo be all through the place. I'm finna do some more fire breathing. I want y'all to breathe too. In, count to 10, out, count to 10, in, count to 10, out, count to 10, then we're gonna get the show started. Let's go in. And if you can, put your chin in the center of your neck with a V at. Hold that down while you do all this. That's gonna get you there faster. And do your symbol. Either you got the trades, you cracking trades like Buddha, or you doing the GD symbols. You can put your pitchforks up and do meditation with your legs crossed. I'm gonna do the unknown. Or you can do the all Jesus, with the 2 fingers and the hand out. However you want to do it. I like that. I might try the all Jesus with the 2 fingers up and the hand out. And count to 10. Y'all think I'm crazy. Trust me, you keep doing this. You do this for 1 minute straight, you're gonna be hiding the motherfucker. You ain't gonna even think about nothing. When you do this, you can't. You gotta block out all thoughts, and this is the ability to block out thoughts at will until you walk in meditation. And remember, energy attract energy. Negativity attract negative happiness. Positive energy attract positive happiness. So when I go outside, since I'm so positive, all the dope dealers and hustlers, the niggas who standing on my block, to turn into squirrels stealing nuts. So when I look out the window, I got a whole bunch of squirrels chasing each other because they be stealing, nuts and shit. Peace beget peace. Get this show started, though.
Gematria meter.
I want y'all to
And
listen
this
to this.
video is all about the main characteristics of people who are ready to move on to the new 5D Earth and embrace Christ consciousness. This video gives a clear picture about those whose earthly cycles of lives are drawing to a close on 3D Earth, and those who are still stuck in the duality game of this human experience.
We still breathing now. We
There
warming
is
up,
no
y'all.
judgment about belonging to one group or the other. At the end of the video, the meaning of every life on Earth really becomes clear.
Let me pause that real quick. I want to say something to everybody. You got squares. Oh, let me read some out of the metal next. And this square is funny. It's in the Maya chamber. But I'm gonna read it. I'm gonna pull that up. Now you got squares, and they trap us in squares. And squares is like Rubik's cube with four-dimensional, 3-dimensional objects like that, or four-dimensional objects. When they trap you in a square, they trap you in a religion, they trap you into a race, they trap you into a code, they trap you into a creed, and they lock you in that square. So if I was racist, I would never pull this up. If I was racist, half the stuff I didn't study, I wouldn't even know about spirit box. If I was, and I'm not trying to explain racism, but I'm just explaining how stupid it is in the spiritual realm. Very stupid, and then also religion to lock yourself into that a type of religion and try to filter everything through that religion is getting locked into a square. So you can't create. You can't go to the fourth and fifth dimension with that. You're gonna stay three-dimensional on Earth with your two-dimensional square. So now we go to Maya, the female principle, that which holds the square. Number one, Maya embodies the doctrine of divine law and order. Here we see a woman of commit making an offering or commitment to live the truth embodiment in these laws. Two, the heart, the will, and the fire breathing. See what I'm saying? We're working on the heart, the will, the fire breathing. The heart, the will of a person being weighed against Matt in the double halls of truth. And they got the symbol of the jackal, your heart wearing as light as a feather, being ye a child into the kingdom of heaven. Maya, the cube, 9-inch Rubik's Cube, Gematria, was used as a standard for measurement in Kamat. So Gematria was used as a standard of measurement in Kamat, law and judgment. And we say, well, what do you mean Gematria? Well, the cube, cubic, cube, square, Rubik's cube, Gematria. You know what I'm saying? The sum total, subtraction, and addition, and measurement. So when I go into Gematria, it's to measure your DNA, it's to measure your soul, it's to measure what okay, he got this in here, he got that in there. Which one did he lead to? Which one did he go for? You got both potentials, male, female, negative, positive, you like that. Let's go to 4. The Maya personality is sharing, generous, charitable. Here we have a group of women sharing fresh fruit and flowers. So she's a socialite, she's sharing, she's cheerful, some under the positive Leo sign. The papyrus 5, the papyrus scepter is symbolic of the book of the law. And then a lot of times, book of the law, or we got the law of unity. But let me keep going. My fault, y'all.
No matter where you find yourself on this beautiful earth journey, we belong to the most creative, advanced, and courageous part of God. This message is a channeling from Yeshua, also known as Jesus, and he's being channeled by Pamela Kribbe. Thank you, Yeshua. I will link the article down below if you're interested in reading it for yourself.
No, we're not. Come on, let's go.
Special is that there are 2 different cycles of consciousness coming to an end. a personal cycle, or a set of personal cycles,
Get to breathe.
and a planetary cycle. The completion of these cycles coincides so that one reinforces the other. For a part of humanity, the completion of their personal cycle of Earth lives is near. Most of the souls involved in this completion are light workers. To find out more about light workers,
now we're going to talk about the light workers. We're going to hear about your boy over here on Spirit Block and George. Box and George is the light worker.
see the video, which I will be posting consciousness, and characteristics
And we're talking
that
about
you're
going into
releasing
the
duality
fourth and fifth
and
dimension.
ascending to Christ consciousness.
Now, I want y'all to understand something. They say Christ. We're not getting into the actual words, but we get into the idea more so than the words. I take everything, cross blend them, dimension them, parallel universe realities, and make it all make sense. You know what I'm saying? You got to remember when you're building. I had. You start off, you don't have the knowledge, so you don't have the information, you don't have the memory. So when your mind, you try to just say, you try to express yourself, and you become into a religion, you get locked into that one mode of expression. But you don't, and then you therefore deny yourself other knowledge, information, and stuff like that. But if you create your mind like a Google, you know what I'm saying? I don't care what it is. I'm putting it in my mind. I'm absorbing it, so that way I can relate to all type of situations. Imagine an AI, a human AI, like that. So your memory don't have nothing in it, so you can't verbally express yourself or adequately equate yourself to any situation in all situations because you locked into one square. You see, if you can understand what I'm saying. So when I say read, study all information under the Bruce Lee style technique, that means take everything in. Just store it. Just store it. Read it. Don't matter. Don't have no discrimination. Store it, and then you're gonna find one time you're gonna have to use it, where your mind gonna automatically go into the data file and find information on you giving the right answer to somebody's situation. Just like an AI machine, if you don't put this information in there, they're just useless. It's seen useless, but information in there. When you say, "Hey, how are you today?" It's gonna go into this data bank. Oh, okay, I'm good. How about you? But if you don't got that in the database, it's gonna say, it ain't gonna say nothing. You know what I'm saying? So Bruce Lee style on the knowledge. In the meanwhile,
the Earth lives you
breathe,
experience
nigga.
are part of a
Breathe.
greater cycle of your soul.
Now, hold on. I'm gonna say one more thing before we go into the fourth and fifth dimension. And right there, they got this solidary retention. Is when you see a lot of motherfuckers out here boxing, arguing, and going through it. And I know your boy, young Farrellhead, was talking disrespecting the elder. You know, Bobby Hemmett. Now he going through the act with his baby mama under the cancer file. And he's trying to do polygamy with what he called a demon, as he said, which make him look kind of crazy. But it's all type of stuff walking through his phone while he's doing a live. So I'm gonna tell you the retention and the games they playing to anybody in separation that's not fully into their actual mind. Why he doing the live talking about his baby mama, the slut coming through talking about, can you come in my face? And it's all seen, so he killed himself in his place. You understand what I'm saying? God putting people in their place.
This cycle was designed to enable you to fully experience duality. You have within this cycle
The thing about fully experienced duality, man, woman. We trying to get to singularity where you don't really need that. But if you got yourself, you make yourself out, you self-sustain, and your person the same, we all enjoy each other's company, the moon gonna wane. But young Pharaoh going through it at the wrong time. He's trying to not practice duality. He's trying to practice tripleality. Like when the man in the time and the moment we supposed to be trying to find our self love, this nigga trying to spread itself out. So it's not going, it need fourth and fifth don't agree, don't really correlate like that. You so damn lonely, you got two bitches. I guess, I guess.
experienced what it is like to be male and female, to be healthy and ill, to be rich or poor, to be good and bad. In some lives, you were intensely involved with the material world, being a farmer, worker, or craftsman.
All this is in
There have been more
DNA.
spiritually orientated lives, in which you carried within you a strong awareness of your spiritual origins. In those lives, you are often drawn to religious callings. Also, there have been lives in which you explored the worldly domain of power, politics, and so forth. Your earthly cycle of lives ends when the game of duality no longer has a hold on you. It is essential to the dualistic game that you identify yourself with a particular position in the playfield of polarities. You identify yourself with being poor or rich, famous or humble, man or woman, hero or villain. It really doesn't matter that much which part you're playing. As long as you feel one with the actor on the stage, duality still has a firm grip on you. This is not wrong, of course. In a sense, it was meant to be that way. You were meant to forget about your true self, to experience all the aspects of duality. You were
So what she's saying is three-dimensional plane we own is the stage of duality. And we got to learn how to not need each other so much or be needy under the Will Smith and Jada Pickett Act and need yourself. And once you need yourself, the other person needs themselves when y'all blending energies like the MasterCard. You know what I'm saying? You rich as hell in this bitch.
were meant to narrow your consciousness down to a particular role in the drama of Earth life. And you played it well. You got so caught up with your roles that you totally forgot about the aim and purpose of going through this cycle of lives to begin with. You were so forgetful about yourself that you took the games and the dramas of duality to be the only reality there is. In the end,
I mean, you listening? Man, you listening? This is the young Pharaoh and his baby mama situation going on. He going the wrong direction. Instead of going one, he going to three.
this made you very lonely and full of fear, which is not surprising since the very game of duality, as noted in the previous
Somebody just performed witchcraft on that dude, to tell you the truth.
section, is based on the elements of ignorance and fear. To understand the workings of duality in your everyday life, we would like to mention a few typical hallmarks of the duality game. Characteristics of the duality game: being stuck in 3D consciousness. Number 1, your emotional life is essentially unstable. There is no emotional anchor present, since you're always in the up or down side of a.
So breathe. That's why I say breathe, nigga, breathe. Fire breathing. Dragon technique. Breathe in with the stomach out. Count to 10. Breathe out. Stomach in. Count to 10. And do not skip a moment. And do that for at least I just say if you can 5 times. Watch how quickly you go up into the pyramid and ascend and smack the shit out the gin. This GSD TV, man, quit playing. We
A
coming out here to
particular
win.
mood. You are angry or forgiving, narrow minded or generous, depressed or enthusiastic, happy or sad. Your emotions perpetually fluctuate between extremes. You seem to have only limited control over these fluctuations. Number 2, you are intensely involved with the outer world. It is very important to you how other people judge you. Your self-esteem depends on what the outer world, society, or your loved ones mirrors back to you about who you are. You are trying to live up to their standards of right and wrong. You are doing your very best. Number 3, you have strong opinions about what's good and what's bad. Being judgmental gives you a sense of security. Life is so well organized when one divides actions, thoughts, or people into right and wrong. Common to all these characteristics is that in all you do or feel, you are not really there. Your consciousness resides in the outer layers of your being, where it is driven by fear-orientated patterns of thought and behavior.
Fire breathing. Dragon technique.
Characteristics of releasing duality. Ascending to 5D consciousness. Number 1, you listen to the language of your soul, which speaks to you through your feelings. Number 2, you act upon this language and create the changes your soul wishes you to make. Number 3, you value quiet time alone, for only in silence can you hear the whispers of your soul. Number 4, you question the authority of thought patterns or rules of behavior, which block the free expression of your true inspiration and aspirations. Your earthly cycle of lives draws to a close when your consciousness is able to hold all the experiences of duality in its hand, while remaining centered and fully present. As long as you identify with one aspect of duality rather than another, with light as opposed to dark, with rich as opposed to poor,
Black and white thinking.
your consciousness is on a swing. Karma is nothing but the natural harmonizer of the swings in which your consciousness engages. You release your ties to the karmic cycle when your consciousness finds its anchor point in the motionless center of the seesaw. This center is the exit point for the karmic cycle. The predominant feeling tones in this center are stillness, compassion, and quiet joy. Greek philosophers had premonitions of this state, which they called ataraxia, imperturbability. Judgment and fear are the energies that most take you off center. As you release these energies more and more, you become more quiet and open inside. You truly enter another world, another plane of consciousness. This will be manifested in your outer world. It will often be a time of change and saying goodbye to aspects in your life that do not reflect you anymore. Great upheavals may occur in the areas of relationship and work. More often than not, your whole
We're talking about Dark Night of the Soul. And if y'all ain't catch it, go back to my old videos.
lifestyle turns topsy-turvy. This is only natural from our perspective, since inner changes are always the forerunner of changes in your outer world. Your conscious
That's why I say breathe, or prana, or fire breathing, or dragon technique with your stomach and your nose, not your mouth. Your stomach and your nose. Breathe in, stomach go out. Breathe out, stomach go in. And you keep doing it and don't skip. You keep doing it, and you're gonna come up in a supreme state of realization, aka relaxation.
consciousness creates the material reality you dwell in. It is always that way. What is the purpose of going through duality? Please do not underestimate the meaning of your lives on earth.
Prince.
You belong to the most creative, advanced, and courageous part of God. You are explorers of the unknown and creators of the new. Your explorations through the realm of duality have served a purpose far beyond your imagination. It is hard to explain to you the deepest meaning of your travels, but we can say that you have created a new type of consciousness, one that did not exist previously. This consciousness was first displayed by Christ when he walked the earth. This consciousness, which I call the Christ consciousness, results from a spiritual alchemy.
Y'all gotta remember, we're not talking about Jesus Christ. We're talking about the Christ consciousness. It could be Muhammad Christ, Muhammad God body, Muhammad supreme spirituality, Muhammad soul group, Muhammad Hood X. You know what I'm saying? So this, you got, if you're gonna make it to the fourth, the fifth dimension, you got to get that racism, negative connotation, or judgmental attitude out the game, or you will not understand nothing I'm saying, and you be playing in 3D realm all day in the rain. I'm trying to tell you, man, feel my pain.
Physical alchemy is the art of transforming lead into gold. Spiritual alchemy is the art of transforming dark energy into the third energy, the spiritual goal present in the Christ energy. Please note that we do not say that the purpose is to transform dark into light, or evil into good. Dark and light, evil and good, are natural opposites. They
Gematria.
exist by the grace of one another.
Put the link
True
in the chat
spiritual
room.
alchemy
Go to Gematria.
introduces a third energy, a type of consciousness which embraces both polarities through the energies of love and understanding. The true purpose of your journey is not to have light conquer dark, but to go beyond these opposites and to create a new type of consciousness which can maintain unity in the presence of both light and dark. We will explain this rather difficult point by means of a metaphor.
People understand, let's go.
Imagine you're a deep sea diver in search of a pearl.
Breathe, chica, breathe.
Time and again, you dive into the ocean to find this particular pearl, which everyone talks about, but nobody has actually seen.
We pause right there. I'm going to explain something to y'all. Back in the day, when I was going into my spiritual journey, shit, this is so fast. Fuck. Let's go. Breathe, nigga, breathe. Okay. Now he's talking about the pearl, the black pearl. Back in the day when I was going on my spiritual journey, I was like 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. Waking up, awakening, you know what I'm saying? And I ran into this Muslim. I let him hear the song Black Jesus, so we collided. And then I found myself at the mosque building with Farrakhan. And Farrakhan had me in a Masonic meeting in the order in the back, even though, he was a Muslim, he still was Masons. And they all had suits on. I know what the Masons is, they was in a stunt. And I had a army fatigue pants, the Al Raj t-shirt, and some braids and some braids. And I was high as hell. And then when I was high on purpose, I was only happy because I didn't know this nigga was gonna take me out here. And I ain't know, why am I back here, but I'm back here. So Farrakhan say, a couple people sitting down. He said, stand up, he tell me. But he said a lot of stuff before he said this. He said, stand up, you, pointing at me. I said, yeah, what up? Yeah, I stood up. He said, hey. He said, how old are you? I said, 20, 28. He said, hey, they coming for you. I said, yeah, I know, it's all good. You know what I'm saying? I kind of knew he was talking about it, but I couldn't believe he was talking to me. And then he did the Master Mason thing. He put his right hand over his ear and cuffed his right elbow with his left hand. I think in that fashion, or vice versa. And everybody looked at me. I already knew that. I was like, damn, he calling me 33 degree. And he said, I had a vision. And this is getting real interesting because ain't nobody saying nothing to me. He said, sit down, son, I got you. He said, the Pope. I had a vision, and in my vision, the Pope handed me the black pearl. He said, I couldn't do nothing with this. He said, see what you can do with this. Now imagine, I had no idea what the fuck he was talking about until I seen this video. So y'all got to understand, with discrimination, as soon as I heard this white sounding voice, I'd have been like, oh, hell no. You never know this. But due to the fact that under the Bruce Lee files, all races, color, creed, situations, Fred Hampton, at the table, you know what I'm saying? That's how we getting down. We're gonna be positive. We're gonna spiritual solidarity. Hashtag it, like, share, add, subscribe to my channel. Please share. I ain't begging for no money, but I please beg you to share, like, you know what I'm saying? Comment, say something, say the shit was garbage or something. Do something, man. People just, I'm like a ghost. Don't nobody say nothing, and then they come calling me like Poe, like non-controversial. When the Black beside us is the back of the door. Let's bring it back. The fund the instrumental. Poe love the flow. Light speed I travel. Space of time. The gravel be lime. The earth is dark with a twist of dime. Why you crying? Like that. So the black pearl. And I learned this because I was on the bus. I'm gonna give y'all this and I'm gonna keep going. I'm just saying the black pearl. As Farrakhan said, this is gonna make sense to me. I'm gonna push play. But before we get to that, we're gonna talk about discrimination. I was in Kentucky and down there with my cousin. I was trying to get my life together. Make a long story short, we were the Arab. You know what I'm saying? He stayed next door to us. He was rich. He didn't know he was rich because he was straight out of Pakistan. And he straight off the bricks, with the AK-47. His daddy grabbed him and bring him straight over here. So we not knowing he's still in the AK-47 man. He had our crib looking at Playboy Books. We give him the Dob 150 hat. He chilling. I'm long story short, he He in the car with my cousin. They drop me off under the Boys in the Hood. I check out this, do something with this female. Um, I'm watching TV. Let me lay this out right here, y'all. I'm gonna just let me lay this out. Come on, this is my dark night of the soul moment. Let me lay this out. I'm gonna lay this out before we get back. Uh, I'm watching TV. The news come on. She's sitting there. She's sexy, grown. You know what I'm saying? I ain't trying to get it on. I'm just on some thug life shit. Tupac Day, right? So they said, yeah, there's been a shooting at a gas station. Apparently, a guy has been. I think he's dead. Someone came and blew his jaw off. I heard bump on. I'm like, whoa, hold on, what the fuck? And boom, boom. I look out the window of my cousin. I'm like, what the fuck? He's like, come on, I just shot somebody. I'm like, oh, this shit is, oh my God. The side of the moon matrix kicking in this bitch for real. Now, y'all understand, I was young. I had the soul, but I didn't have the information. I had the soul, but I ain't had the information. You know what I'm saying? Let's keep going on. So I get in the car, you know what I'm saying? Man, what the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck, nigga? What the fuck? Blood all on the motherfucking Cadillac. Arab dude just sitting there, we call him Packy with the dive on, cool than a motherfucker under the fire breath. I'm talking about, I don't know what the fuck, this nigga cool. So he can't even really speak English. So cut like, come on, we gotta go. We riding around, do what we gotta do. Turn him in, police said, well, I go home, long story short, lose everything we got. He in jail, I'm gone, 15 years, I'm on my way back home. I'm on bus, I see this Jewish dude, so I'm gonna pray him by myself. Old Jewish dude get on there. And I'm gonna explain why I know he's Jewish because he said it. The Jewish dude get on there. He had a retarded son. I want to say retarded, but handicapped. I'm like, man, why he finna sit by me? Man, why I know he finna sit by me? And sure enough, he can't sit right there. So the son sit over there. Everybody on the bus before you know it, he was talking to me. I was like, what the fuck? But before you know, at the end of the day, I was giving away money. So I don't give a fuck. But that old Jewish dude was talking to me, man. I thought I felt God. I felt the one. I felt God for real, but I couldn't understand because he was white. But I felt God. So I ain't motherfucking gonna discriminate. God come through anyway. How he gonna come through like how he wanna come through how he do. Shit, I can't deny that. I was giving motherfuckers, man. I passed out $500. I got all just whatever. And I'm in searching for that feeling again. So fuck discrimination. God gave me a lesson in the first situation. You know what I'm saying? And he came to me. He said, "Son, I see your eyes red. Had twisted like Abraham seed. Look like what I'm saying, going through it in the streets." I said, "Yeah, man. Why you want to talk to me?" He told me, "Never give up. I don't give a fuck. I don't know what the fuck he said before that. He talked the whole ride, but he said, never give up." And here you go. Here we is now. Now we're gonna go back to the Black Pearl. I say that to say this: when I got home,
Rumors go that not even God, the chief diver, has never touched the pearl. Diving into the ocean is full of perils, since you can get lost or go too deep to catch your breath in time. Still, you persist and you dive into this ocean time and again, for you are determined and inspired. Are you insane?
Nigga, breathe.
No. You are explorers of the new. The secret is, in the process of finding the pearl, you are creating it. The pearl is the...
He said, what am I going to do with this pearl? He said, in my vision, the Pope gave me the pearl and said, I can't do nothing with it. Handle this.
Spiritual gold of the Christ consciousness. The pearl is you, transformed by the experience of duality. What you have here is a true paradox. In exploring the new, you are creating it. You have become the pearl of God's creation. God had no other way of doing it.
Talking to y'all.
For what you were attempting to find did not exist yet.
Talking to y'all.
It had to be created by you. Why was God so interested in creating something new? Let us state this in as simple a way possible. First, God was entirely good. There was goodness everywhere and all around. In fact, because there was nothing else, things were kind of static. His creation lacked aliveness. It lacked
Remember, static and spirit box.
The possibility of growth and expansion. You might say it was stuck. To create change, to create an opportunity for movement and expansion,
breathe.
God had to introduce an element in his creation that was different from the goodness that pervaded everything. This was very hard for God, for how can you create something that is not you? How can goodness create badness? It can't. So God had to come up with a trick, so to speak. This trick is called ignorance. Ignorance is the element that opposes goodness. It creates the illusion of being outside goodness, of being separated from God. Not knowing who you are is the incentive behind change.
Let's say she said ignorance. Y'all want to hear ignorance? Let's hear ignorance.
Watch to the end. Do not skip the video. Watch everything. Click that like button.
Hey y'all, what's going on? I'm here. I'm in the Gold Coast. I'm in the Gold Coast right now. And man, I'm just riding my bike, y'all. I'm just riding my bike. Fuck, man. Fuck, man. They shot FBG Duck, man. I don't know who shot him, man. I just fucking ran into this, y'all. Man.
I need you to step back.
I'm step back. I'm back. I'm back.
I need you to step behind
Listen
the
here.
line.
Ain't no line. One line, man.
I need you to
Listen
step
here.
back.
I'm behind my bike. I'm behind my bike. I stay in this neighborhood. I stay up the street. Y'all, come on. I understand that, y'all. They just, man, I don't know, man. Okay, listen here. Okay, listen here. All right. Come on, man. I understand that. That's great, y'all. Hey, y'all, man. They done shot FBG Duck in the Gold Coast of Chicago, bro. In the Gold Coast of Chicago, bro.
Gold mine.
Why, bro? Why do this got to keep it, man? Come on, man. I was riding my bike, bro.
He said, never give up, bro. Never give up. Never give up.
Man, it's crazy, y'all. It's crazy.
Growth and expansion in your universe. Ignorance breeds fear. Fear breeds the need to control. The need to control breeds the struggle for power, and there you have all the conditions for evil to flourish. The stage has been set for the battle between good and bad. God needed the dynamics of opposites to get his creation unstuck. It may be very hard for you to comprehend and view all the suffering caused by ignorance and
dimensional
fear,
thinking right here.
but God put great value on these energies, since they provided him with a way to go beyond him or herself. God asked you, the ones that belong to the most creative, advanced, and courageous part of herself, to take the veil of ignorance, in order to experience the dynamics of opposites as thoroughly as possible. You were temporarily soaked in forgetfulness about your true nature. You consented to take this plunge into ignorance. But this fact was overlaid by the veil of forgetfulness as well. So now you often curse God for being in the situation you're in, the hardships, the ignorance. And we understand, in essence though, you are God. God is you. Despite of all the troubles and sorrows, deep down within you, there is still a sense of wonder and excitement about living in duality, about experiencing and creating the
dimensional reality.
This is God's original excitement, the reason God started with his journey through you in the first place. When you started out on your journey, you faced evil, fear, ignorance, with only a vague memory of the good or home in your mind. You started to battle fear and ignorance while longing for home. However, you will not return home in the sense of returning to a state in your past. For creation has changed because of your journey. The end of your journey will be that you have become larger than good and evil, light and dark. You will have created a third energy, the Christ energy, which embraces and transcends both. You will have expanded God's creation.
Did she say third energy? Let's see what that is. Eternal Trinity becomes one. To balance and unify internal trinity of energies inside our bodies, this is necessary to learn how to find inner stillness. the fullness of being that naturally will place our focus upon unity in one's life and one's body. When we see unity, it is when we conduct our life through understanding that we are interconnected with all things in every way. The eternal trinity of energies make up all life and everything that exists. Pardon me. Each of us is able to understand and practice this inner alchemy on our own by following the inner guidance we received to better achieve balancing within the layers of our inner spiritual qualities or energies. As we inquire to the areas we are, as we inquire to the areas where we can bring balance between these energies, we are guided to get rid of the harmful blockages. Like I said in the last video, blockages is the spaces that when you go to Spirit Box on YouTube, people be trapped in. Um, Souls be trapped in spiritual chakra blockages. And when you say a chakra spiritual block, you imagine a MasterCard, the two circles connecting. And you imagine at the point to where they connect and blend in, they separate. And then that is a blockage or a dark spot. And that's what souls get locked in. You know what I'm saying? You got King Von on your motherfucking back. Where was we at? Many of us has blockages or leakages of one or all of these internal energies that will primarily manifest as dysfunctions in the main organ system. We are entering a time where any main organ blockage will require to be cleared out to help generate our newly sustained body that is built upon the foundation created through the nourishment received from the eternal trinity of energies. The transmission from the mother Q's quintessence is accelerating and supporting this process in our fleshly bodies through the activation of the internal trinities of energies. In turn, the crystal current tones are re-encrypting the element recorded of the fleshly body systems, reconstructed that and come back the third day. It is time to become more aware of how these energies circulate and how these forces operate as the intelligence inside one's physical body. Like they were saying,
You will be the new creation of God. God will have gone beyond him or herself when the Christ consciousness is fully born on earth. The Christ consciousness did not exist before the human experience. The Christ consciousness is the consciousness of one who has gone through the multi-layered experience of duality, has come to terms with it, and emerges on the other side. He will be the inhabitant of the new earth. This one will have let go of duality. She will have recognized and embraced her own divinity. He will have become one with his divine self. But his divine self will be different than before. It will be deeper and richer than the consciousness from which it was born. Or one could say, God will have enriched him or herself by having gone through the experience of duality. This story is simplified and distorted as anything we say is distorted by the illusions of time and separation. These illusions have served a valuable purpose, but the time has come to go beyond them. Please try to feel the energy behind our words, stories, and metaphors. This energy is in a sense your own. It is the energy of your future Christed selves that is speaking through me, Yeshua. We are waiting for you to join us. Releasing the grip of duality takes time. Unraveling all the layers of darkness or unconsciousness is a gradual process. Yet once you embark upon this road, the road to the inner self, you are slowly distancing yourself from the game of duality. When you have tasted the true meaning of ataraxia, the turning point is taken. When you have felt the silent yet all-pervading joy of simply being with yourself, you will know that that is what you've been looking for all along. You will go inward time and again to experience this peace inside. You will not shy away from worldly enjoyment, but you will have found an anchor of divinity within yourself, and you will experience the world and all its beauty from that state of bliss. Bliss never resided in material things to begin with. It resides in the way you experience them. When there is peace and joy in your heart, the things and people you meet will give you peace and joy. In this day and age, a certain group of souls is preparing itself to step off the karmic cycle. However, it is not just a group of human souls that is now reaching the end of a transformative personal cycle. The very earth on which you live is undergoing a deep and thoroughgoing transformation. A planetary cycle is coming to an end as well. This era is so special because of these two cycles coinciding.
All right. I'm going to read. We're going to go into tonight's demonstration. Saturn Moon Matrix dovetail precisely with my experience, both personally and as an astronomer. How of 2.5 day cycle of moon keeps us harmonically tied to tiny repeating cycles, and a 2.95, just like a 3.5, yet cycle of Saturn locks us into societal structures beyond which we cannot see until we are tuned to larger orders, beginning with the outer planet cycles of Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, and beyond. But to do this is to leap off the cliff of mind control, rationality, into the mysterious living universe. Remember that. And that's what he had to say about the moon so far. And I don't feel like reading right now. We're going to go into this.
At the time this news was 23rd, 1966, NASA released an image taken by NASA satellite Lunar Orbiter 2 of 6 very tall towers, or spires, or cuspids, found on the surface of the moon. The towers were called the Blair cuspids, after Orbiter 2 scientist William Blair. At the time, this news was so big that the Los Angeles Times and the Washington Post printed the lunar orbiter image with big headlines. The Post front page said this: 6 mysterious statuesque shadows photographed on the moon by orbiter. Post writer Thomas O'Toole wrote that the image revealed 6 shadows, which were
hailed by scientists as one of the most unusual features of the moon ever photographed.
Blair believed that the geometry of the layout of the towers was too regular to be a random act of nature. He insisted there was an intelligent design behind the construction. Soviet space engineer Alexander Abramov looked at the orbiter picture and reached the same conclusion as Blair, only he went much further. Abramov stated publicly that the towers form an Egyptian triangle. He says,
"The distribution of these lunar objects is similar to the plan of the Egyptian pyramids near Cairo. The centers of the spheres in this lunar abaca are arranged precisely the same way as the apices of the 3 pyramids."
NASA scientist Farouk Al-Baz also hinted that he thought the towers were not natural. He said that they were taller than the tallest buildings on Earth, as calculated by the tremendously long shadows they cast on the moon's surface. He also noted that the towers were much lighter in color than the surrounding area, and concluded that the towers were constructed of a different material. Almost immediately after the newspapers printed the story, NASA went into a full cover-up. They claimed it was a trick of light and shadow, and they ignored all further inquiries into the 6 towers. Art Rosenblum of the Aquarian Research Foundation met a scientist who worked for NASA.
Remember, they said Aquarian. Aquarian's going to find that shit out. Fuck all that. They going to know, you know.
Rosenblum reports,
"He told me about the time of photographing the shadows of the obelisks. The Boeing Aircraft Corporation published the photo in their company newsletter. He had not seen it published since then. He also told me that while working for NASA, he found it uncommonly difficult to get information from them. If monuments have been discovered on the moon, one would suppose that that is about the most important result of the moon probe effort. Why is this information not widely publicized by NASA? Why are they not fully investigated? Or are they? What other types of information is being withheld? Why?"
the fact that this tower system
We're trying to get in contact with the spirit of John F. Kennedy tonight. John, if you're here, you can come through and you can use this device to speak. We have some questions to ask you tonight, questions which I feel you have amazing answers to. Now you can come through and share whatever it is you have to say with the world.
Less than 3 years later.
Yes, the moon itself might actually be artificial or a possibly artificially modified natural satellite. In addition to that, there are all kinds of structures on the moon itself which appear to be artificial, which indicate that at one time it was a base for very advanced civilization. May have been human, may have been alien, may have been both. There may have been multiple epochs of inhabitation of the moon.
That the moon's actual diameter also happens to be the number of years in an age of the zodiac. And as Hancock wrote in Fingerprints of the Gods in 1995, you have 35 different cultures in the ancient world that encoded the precession, this 25,000 year cycle, into their mythology. And 12 ages of the zodiac adds up to the 25,920 year cycle. So it would appear that the moon was designed for a particular purpose.
Scientists have asked the question, what would life on Earth be like without a moon? The answer to this question is troubling. Without a moon, there would be very little tidal flow. The rivers in the oceans that bring hot equatorial water to the polar regions and back would disappear. Also, the moon has slowed our planetary rotation. So if we had no moon, the days would speed up. The moon also locks the planet into a 23.5-degree tilt, which gives us our seasons. Without the moon locking the Earth, the planet would begin to rotate at different angles, and this would cause the weather to become very weird. For instance, the polar regions would move into the hot zones, and then all of the ice caps would melt.
Sound like what's happening now.
Because the gravitational effects of the moon and creating tides and things like that is what created life on Earth. And so until we had this moon in orbit around our planet, there couldn't really be life here as we know it.
In his book, The Secret Teachings of All Ages, Manly P. Hall tells us about the rites of the Druid people from Ireland. He says,
The Druids also had other symbolic instruments, such as a peculiarly shaped golden sickle, with which they cut the mistletoe from the oak, and the cornon, or scepter, in the form of a crescent, symbolic of the sixth day of the increasing moon, and the Ark of Noah. An early initiate of the Druidic mysteries related that admission to their midnight ceremonies was gained by means of a glass boat called Cirgau Gwydrin. This boat symbolized the moon, which, floating on the waters of eternity, preserved the seeds of living creatures within its boat-like crescent.
Spirit box.
This ties in very nicely with the testimony of Bill Tompkins, who confirmed what we'd heard from many other insiders, which is that the moon is, in fact, an old Noah's Ark on a planetary scale. The most current data that we have suggests that the moon was brought here right during the time of the death of the dinosaurs about 65 million years ago. It is now very likely that something was done deliberately to wipe out the dinosaurs.
And then you come back to modern times, to people like William Tompkins from this naval intelligence beyond top secret operation interacting with extraterrestrials.
Marine. Saturn, Lord of the Rings. The Reptilian Alliance Modulus Emperandi is the first trigger cataclysm event on a target world or solar system and wipe away the society that was there before. Then reptilians genetically engineered a new species that is designed to be tunneled or tuned into their false reality, what I call OPs, ops, or organic portals. Or what is organic portals is when you got animals who's trying to reincarnate or carnate into a human, but they need a human transport or human body or human experience to get them into the human reality. But what they do is trap you right there. So a lot of persons around you become OPs, organic portals, because they think in two dimensions, black and white. You know what I'm saying? Simple as that. Like, you know, okay. So the OPs are tuned into their false reality, their matrix, and the planet is hijacked along with the perception of the people. They have done exactly this to Earth and humanity, and their means of doing are Saturn and the Moon. Saturn, the Lord of the Rings, is the master control center. Saturn is a ginormous broadcasting system, and they will eventually find that the rings are full of crystals rather than ice, a typical type of crystal that we aren't familiar with on Earth. These rings are not natural, and at the time, Saturn was a conventional brown dwarf. They now have no rings back then. They have been constructed by technology of reptilian alliance and aliens. And funny enough, as I think about it, the insider once told me on a photograph he had seen of an incredibly large spacecraft that appeared to be repairing one of Saturn's rings. Their process is ongoing, and they continue to construct others and shit like that. I don't know y'all heard of that dark thing, that dark night, dark something that be sitting in the sky, that satellite. I know y'all heard of that, right?
And he's talking about the
Batman
moon
or some shit like
being
that.
the command center for a reptilian race. And again, if you keep connecting the dots, you keep looking ancient and modern, the body of evidence that you can create that gives you a picture, from the pixels comes the picture, is absolutely extraordinary and explains so much about life on Earth.
Apparently, the moon was literally like a vehicle that could be driven from one solar system to another, possibly using portals that naturally occur as a way to skip over a lot of distance. But it had a propulsion system, it had a weapons system, it was fully capable of defending itself, and I've heard from multiple insiders that there are as many as 10,000 different floors inside the moon, 10,000 levels, which are in many cases built all the way through from one side to the other. The amount to which the build out occurs in any one area has to do with how much raw material there is that these nano robots could use to actually structure it out, because it was all done by an automated process.
Everything I've seen on the moon is in ruins. That doesn't mean it's not inhabited, because the fact is that the best place you could possibly have a base to operate around the Earth, if you were working on the Earth or you wanted to move out into the solar system from the Earth, would be on the moon.
Now, what would these 10,000 levels inside the moon be used for?
I'm going to show you.
Are you comfortable using this device, John?
John Kennedy. He said, hardly working.
How are you doing on the other side, John?
It's good to visit.
What's it like where you are? Can you describe the environment around you?
It's all right. It's all right. Our lives. Been exposed to other
I'm not sure of your relationship or connection with Marilyn Monroe, but people are wanting to know if you are still with her on the other side.
Yeah, man. I'm in the light.
Something about light?
Let's find out tonight.
They're used to take organisms from a given planet, to store them if that planet becomes non-viable for life, to transport them somewhere else where they can then be dropped off. The moon is just like the apocryphal story of Noah's Ark in the Bible, except that it's on a much larger scale than how we would normally think of it. So now we have a possibility of looking at the idea that the biosphere we see on Earth, with plants that have green chlorophyll to process sunlight, that we have a biota of insects, we have a biota of marine organisms, and there's all these ecosystems in which smaller organisms can be used for food by larger organisms, and life becomes more complex, so that in a sense, the biosphere we see on Earth
Said she about to come over. Said she gonna be confident.
It's been a while since your passing. Have you been able to make it up to the light, John? I know you just said something shortly ago about the light.
I haven't been down in a while. Lives are meaningless. What's that movie called? It was when they had used these people's nervous systems to make them into ghosts, and you couldn't really see them, but you need an ultraviolet light to see them. And they stored them in store cases and boxes. That's what it's like for them to be in. This is what the spirit box is. They be in storehouse, etherical beings in cases on the moon. It's just my theory, y'all. I mean, I'm trying to put it together. You're going to see what it do. I'm trying to put it together.
If not ubiquitous throughout the universe or our galaxy, at least very prevalent. So we're going to see the same types of life. So what we may have had at the fall of the dinosaurs was the moon gets brought in, it gets put into orbit around the Earth, at which time it jumpstarts seasons. So now we don't have a desert planet anymore. We've got the seasons and the tides caused by the moon, which creates much more diversity in the climate, so that we don't have a desert planet that only reptilians can live on. Now we have a mammalian supporting planet, and the mammalian life that they wanted to be here was already stored inside the moon, waiting to be dropped off. This is what the insider research has concluded, and that the moon was on its last legs, and it was damaged, so that when it got brought to the Earth 65 million years ago, it was never going to be able to go anywhere again. The problem, however, is that inside the moon was a very, very powerful supercomputer. And it was believed at the time that that supercomputer could not be hacked. However, what we had developed later in our solar system, much later, was a civilization with the planet Tiamat or Maldek, which was the super Earth that then blew up and became the asteroid belt, and Mars, which at that time was also a captured gravitational moon that was Earth-like as well and had an ocean. What I've heard from multiple insiders is that the moon has this ability to influence us. So why do people get so upset? Why does violence and psychopathic behavior go up when the moon is full? I don't think that what we're looking at here is strictly a function of the light from the moon, the visible light. What it appears is going on is that when the moon is full, we're actually dealing with a situation where you have a straight line path between the sun, the earth, and the moon. And that straight line path is what we would call an alignment. Now, this alignment has something a lot deeper going on than just whether the moon looks bright or not. It has to do with the fact that there are these unseen torsion field or scalar waves that then become the most powerful, where it rings the moon like a tuning fork. And there's this hidden energy, the spin in gravity is what the Russians defined it as, that is actually causing there to be a much stronger connection between whatever consciousness is in the moon and whatever consciousness is on Earth. So if there are all these very dark and evil beings inside the moon in this virtual AI form, then when the moon is full, they have a greater ability to telepathically influence us. And what are they doing? Widespread prevalence of insider knowledge about there potentially being this ancient evil inside the moon has also led to something you hear from a lot of insiders, the idea that in some cases, people's souls may be getting attracted into the moon when they die. And in fact, the noted Western mystic Gurdjieff did say that the moon was a soul trap and that you should avoid going near it in the afterlife state after your death, because you could be sucked into some kind of reincarnation experience. We also see this, of course, in the work of Philip K. Dick, where he wrote the book Valis, and it appeared, Valis meaning Vast Active Living Information System, that Valis really was connected to the moon. The Vast Active Living Information System is something inside the moon, and he was very worried about this connection as well. So this is a prevalent thing that you hear about on the inside track, and many of the insiders I've spoken to have said that there is so much data storage inside the moon. The storage space, the computing power is so vast that apparently the Draco reptilians use this as their central mainframe. And they're storing all this surveillance intel on multiple worlds of billions of people that they're trying to conquer and invade. All of that data is being stored inside the moon. And we also hear through the work of Corey Good and others, that once we get this big solar flash that we're expecting at the end of this age, that will essentially wipe the hard drive of the moon. It's an electromagnetic pulse that wipes out the AI in our solar system, and therefore whatever nasty stuff is inside the moon is apparently on the verge of getting wiped out by this event, and it knows it, and it's very concerned about it. Therefore, it is fighting like crazy for its own survival in the last few years that it has left.
There you have it. See what your sister got to say.
Colors of brown, tan, grays, very, very mute natural colors here. I have a lot of subjects. I'm feeling and sensing subjects: gravel, rocky mountains, rushing sounds. I also hear sounds like a horn, drilling, construction, maybe. Movement. There's a lot of movement by subjects here, man-made and natural sounds. Like this place that's underground kind of makes me feel like it's like a lost world, sort of like Atlantis, but underground. I see separate structures here, and again, this and whistling, rumbling like harsh wind or maybe harsh water, just rumbling and whistling sounds. Horn. The horn reminds me of a tornado warning or siren. Running water. I feel and sense multiple male and female subjects, workers. They remind me of miners, but they work very diligently. They're very precise in everything that they do. They're very precise in everything that they do. My
basic thoughts here are
People today, they could spend half their lives over 50.
I think that what John is trying to say is that lives are only temporary. Our bodies get old and they will eventually die. It'll happen to every one of us, but what awaits us on the other side is eternal. We should all look to become more spiritual and prepare for our journeys into the afterlife, because one day we'll all be going through the same journey that John went through. Considering you were killed in such an unfortunate way, was it difficult to transition over to the afterlife?
John F. Kennedy.
Home. I think I heard home.
I think he reincarnated.
What kind of things are you doing on the other side nowadays, John? Did you have a feeling you were going to die that day, John?
Couldn't move. And I still said they did it.
They did it, I think. I don't want to make any assumptions, but I think that's what I heard. Can you elaborate a little bit more? Can you tell us who did it, John?
They work in the shadows. They still doing their thing.
Could John be referring to what would be known as the shadow government? The shadow government is conspired to be a government within our own government, an organization who has more say than that of the current president and who works on their own agendas, somewhat similar to the CIA. This is something very interesting to think about. Many wonder if you know what's going on up in the Arctics.
Nothing looks good. They digging.
If you want others to take
the remote viewing documentaries include
octagony type of
extraterrestrial life that interacts with Earth and humanity, both past and present.
It's much more angular than the other places that we were looking at earlier. It's just This place is pretty angular. It's it's just sort of hexagony, octagony type of translucent type of thing. And over here, it looks like, I want to say it looks like Earth, but it's just a spherical planet-looking type of thing, and it's far away, and he's just looking at it. And this seems like the biological at the top that's responsible for all that horribleness that we were just looking at the bottom.
Well, this remote viewing documentary that you are watching now is about one specific group of extraterrestrials that have been and remain very heavily involved in the long-term exploitation of humanity, the reptilians. What you're about to see are remote viewing data that specifically target reptilians operating here on Earth. You're about to see what the reptilians do here, where they are located, why they are here, and how they treat Earth humans.
Obsessing this subject glows, like it's either there's a emitting glowing in the non-surface structure, or there's a bright light that is glowing around this non-surface structure, or the subject is glowing.
Non-surface structure.
One of the subjects are glowing on their own. I see purple eyes and a very orange hue. The temperature is very warm. Their skin is dry and rough and scaly.
Obviously, the reptilians are an extraterrestrial species that is causing lots of problems for humanity, both currently and in the past. They are a very aggressive species, and they are very sensitive. They react quickly to perceived threats. They shoot first and ask questions later, whenever they think their interests are under threat.
There's still those weird.
Before we get to that, y'all, let's get back to your boy Kennedy.
The Arctic, I know, is a perfect place to hold government secrets, considering how secluded it is. What do you think they're doing in the Arctic, John? What do you think about the state of the U.S. right now with all of this division?
He's stuck in the moon. They are vulnerable. Get it together. The great nation will fall.
Do you know who the person was that shot you?
I didn't even see. They just watched.
This is a very interesting reply, because if any of you were following the stories of JFK's assassination, you will have probably heard of the woman with the camera, nicknamed the Babushka Lady. This is a lady who is still unidentified to this day, whose identity was well concealed at the time, under vast amounts of clothing, and who was photographing the whole event taking place. Now, while some will say that this isn't unusual behavior, as many were taking photos at this time, she was the only individual who seemed to be completely unfazed by the gunshots and chaos unfolding around her. She continued to stand and take photos as the event unfolded. After, she returned back to the crowd which had ran away. Some say that she could have been a Russian spy. Others say that she could have been part of the government. To this day, the Babushka Lady has not been identified, and this is only one of the countless mysteries connected to JFK's unfortunate passing.
Let's see what you got to say.
Non-human subjects that are guarding this place and watching it and doing different observations and tests on these subjects.
So you may say that controlling humans secretly by manipulating human leadership behind the scenes is unethical, and it is. But that is exactly what human societies do to each other. We control other countries by manipulating their leadership. It is very expensive for one country to invade another. It's much easier and cheaper for one nation to manipulate the leadership of another nation, such that the manipulated nation does what is desired all by themselves.
Now, I know a lot of the stuff we talked about tonight have to do with conspiracy theories, but believe it or not, there's a conspiracy theory about your own son. Many don't believe that he actually died in the plane crash which he died in, and that he may still be living somewhere in the world, somewhere in secret today. Is your son with you on the other side? Can you confirm that for us?
Conspiracy is unnecessary. No use talking about it.
Can you give us a clear answer which will allow us to put an end to this particular conspiracy theory? Is your son with you on the other side, John?
Y'all gotta remember, in a steady condition, he don't have like memory like we have. It's thought, not memory. It's not the feeling. You know what I'm saying? It's not like the actual feeling that's in the body. So if you're like, Paul, what the fuck you talking about? It's like your dream. You know what I'm saying? You kind of know you somewhat different. You kind of know you floating around, but you don't freak out about it. You know, you be looking up like the sky blue. I mean, red, and the ground is lime green. You're around people that feel for, seem familiar, but you look at them, you don't really know them. You don't ever stop in your dream and be like, oh, what the fuck is going on? Because you're not in the dream. You're out your body. You know what I'm saying? And out your body is that your heart rate is at a lower rates that you have become an etherical experience, probably experience as dimensions in reality. So that's how I feel to be in a motherfucking spirit box. You know what I'm saying?
Now, there's one thing that you wanted to do when you were in office, and that was to expose the truth about aliens and flying saucers to the public. What was it that you wanted to tell the world about extraterrestrials, John?
You know the truth. This is their home now. We waited too long.
Are there aliens on the other side with you, John? I know that there have been spirits who have come through before talking about aliens being there on the other side with them. Is that truly the case, John?
Yeah, they on the moon. That's why you gotta pray. There's no point. They don't go
What
up.
was or is currently the...
When he said they don't go up, remember, wrong pause. All right, I'm back. Now pause. He said they don't go up, they go down. I remember when I told you when they in these little spiritual squares or boxes or holding cells or what we call it purgatory, depending on where you're gonna go up or down, left or right. Down is reincarnated to the earth. Up is going to the fourth and fifth dimension. Aliens don't go up, they go down. They reincarnate your ass right back down here. Now I'm gonna play a clip from Tupac. And he was saying something about, you know, when he in his spirit, he, you know, in this little box on the moon, he was saying, he said, you gonna go up to the light? And he was like, no, I ain't with that. I ain't on that. He's like, what you mean? He said, I want to go back. He's like, what? Basically, I want to go down. I want to go down. I want to go back to Earth. He said, why? Because I want to teach. I want to help. He said, okay, cool. So Pop went with the Woodstock, I guess. He went with the fuck, you know, he wanted to come back down here and reincarnate and do the Fred Hampton all over again. So he might be back down here. You know what I'm talking about? Where the fuck was I at? Oh, yeah, right.
The biggest secret that the Pentagon is keeping from us.
There's no war. They know that.
Are you with your wife and son on the other side?
4 years now. Things are good.
If you could tell us the biggest secret that you know, what is it? And that is assuming that you feel comfortable saying it.
They said they live underwater. Remember the movie They Live? And he said underwater. He said it was the first here.
I feel that John is trying to tell us more about extraterrestrials and some of the things he found out about them while in office. He seems to be telling us that they live underwater and that they were here first. Could aliens have been observing us evolve over thousands of years into the species we are now? Over the years of us becoming an advanced race capable of nuclear warfare, could this have forced them to move underwater to avoid easy detection from mankind? As this was unfortunately one of the last messages John left us, I would like to ask you this.
In the 1960s, NASA compiled a list of strange sightings on the moon, as seen by reputable astronomers going back to the dawn of the telescope, called a chronological catalog of lunar events. The report reveals hundreds of strange objects moving on the surface, with odd lights seen in the dark of the moon, and even clouds and mist streaming across its exterior. Our nearest neighbor in space, the moon, has long baffled scientists. When considered, it is truly one of the more enigmatic members of our solar system. These oddities include the fact that the moon and the Earth are the largest planet-moon system in the solar system, the moon being about 1/4 the size of the Earth. The moon has an odd orbit, which means that the same side of the moon is always facing Earth.
3 feet per second, 40 feet.
No one but the astronauts have actually ever seen the far side of the moon with their own eyes.
It also, interestingly enough, has a tidal lock with the Earth. The moon orbits the Earth and it always faces the Earth the same way. Now, you may not have thought about this before, but what's one of the interesting things that happens with that? You could always do things on the backside of the moon. You could do very elaborate construction projects. You could have very bright things going on. All these bright buildings, highways, roads. It could look like Manhattan. There could be all these ships coming and going, and you would never see it because you only see one side facing the Earth.
Perhaps one of the oddest coincidences is the strange fact that the moon and the sun, from the perspective of the Earth, appear to be the same size. That's because the moon is 1/400th the size of the sun, and is exactly 1/400th the distance between the Earth and the sun. This is what gives us solar eclipses, where we can see this incredible coincidence for ourselves.
Not only does it rotate in such a way as to always keep one face to the Earth, which is unusual enough, but possibly explained. But even stranger still is that when the moon eclipses the disk of the sun and transits it, it's a perfect eclipse. Our moon is of such a size and distance from the Earth that during an eclipse, the disk of the moon is transiting the disk of the sun. And during the complete eclipse, the moon disk is perfectly, not more and not less, covering the disk of our sun.
The best manipulation is one in which those who are being manipulated don't even know that they're being manipulated. Notable examples of this very common practice is how the United States helped to install and support the Shah of Iran, or President Mobutu Sese Seko of Zaire, now the Congo. Somoza Garcia of Nicaragua is another example, and the list goes on and on.
And over here, and she doesn't look happy. The previous pictures I drew of sort of a gentle, smiling female face, not what's going on anymore. This is not the situation that I'm looking at right now. She is sort of tied up, and there's these really, it's weird talking about this, there's this really weird tubes. There's 2 of them.
Humanity needs to disengage from the reptilians. Moreover, we need to recognize that the reptilians have huge military and technological advantages over Earth humans. We are going to need help in disengaging from the reptilians. We cannot simply beam love at the reptilians and expect them to change. That's like going up to a thug and telling him that you love him. The only thing that will happen is that he will rob you, or worse. We have to break free.
And you heard what he said? Let's see. We need to keep fighting. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't have to. start coming together.
Do you think it's an insult when people try to pass off your death as not actually happening?
Guess what you talking about? Let me say that, like walking up to a thug, he's gonna rob you.
Is it scary where you are on the other side right now?
In the morning. Blah, blah, blah.
That was interesting. Tupac, if you're here with us tonight, because I know you were earlier, you did come through and you did confirm that you were here with us. If you're still here, you have fans that are listening to you right now that would love to hear from you, and we have a whole list of questions to ask you tonight.
We are ready. We're inside your hallway.
Think about a hallway. Are you in the hallway right now, Tupac? You're sitting there by them now. All right, I'm going to switch settings now to hopefully make it a little bit more clear
on the moon.
for
He inside
Tupac
the moon,
to come
y'all.
through.
He in a glass
Can
box.
you describe what it looks like around you? What is the current environment like where you are?
A lot of people.
Is it scary where you are on the other side right now?
Blah, blah, blah. Like, nigga, come on.
That was interesting.
I ain't scared of nothing. I can use this. You see the circle, 360 degrees.
Do you miss your family, your friends, and your fans, Tupac?
I love you so much. He said we ain't gonna get
After all the
love.
years that you've been transitioned over to the other side, have you been able to make your way up to the light, Tupac?
Light.
Light. That's correct. Have you been able to go up to the light?
You went up to the light. Pause. Up to the light. Down to the light reincarnation. Up fourth and fifth dimension. Stand behind. I'm just being honest. I'm not going up. I don't want to be a part of that, fam.
Why don't you want to go up to the light?
That's the fourth and fifth dimension. I want to go back, come back as Fred Hammond. Hold on. You know what I'm saying? That ain't me. I want to teach about issues.
You want to teach about issues? Are you talking about the current state of the earth right now? The
you want to come back
violence,
to the third round.
division, all the things happening. Do you wish to stay back and teach the world lessons about that?
I'm standing away from rap. So when I come back, I ain't gonna be rapping. So y'all look for Tupac. He said he done with the rap. It's music. It come from you. You got jokes. So I stopped practicing for a while. You can't, nigga. You in the moon. The key is to just. We need to keep fighting. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't have to. Gotta start coming together.
That's very courageous that you'd like to stay behind and teach the world lessons. I just want to make sure that you are not afraid to actually go up to the light. You know that there's nothing to be afraid of, right?
He said, yeah. Hold on, we're going to let him finish. He keeps leading them. God in this. All right. He said, yeah, he keep leading them. God in this. He's throwing up to the fourth and fifth dimension. God keep coming to get brothers. Y'all ready to go? He said, yeah, Pop, what's up, man? I'm going to go back down. He said, I'm going to let you think about it for a while.
Have you had a difficult journey on the other side, Tupac, considering the life that you led here on Earth and some of the decisions that you've made?
Yeah, I was just messing around.
You were just messing around.
That's how I feel.
That's correct. Was it a hard journey, a hard transition to make into the afterlife?
You know it. The day we die, I knew it. You knew he was gonna die. I've been 25.
Were you able to see the shooter, Tupac?
We did. He wants to rap for him. So you imagine him pulling up like, Pop, what up, man? Rap for me. And they get to shooting his ass, him and shit.
Do you think your death was set up by Suge Knight?
Yeah,
I'm not sure if I pronounced that correctly.
The fuck? He said, Yeah. Bro, like, everybody came into.
All right, we're going to move on to quite a fascinating question now. What do you think of all of these conspiracy theorists who try to say that you are still alive and living under a different identity?
It's uncomfortable.
It's uncomfortable.
You got jokes.
Do you think it's an insult when people try to pass off your death as not actually happening?
They don't even doubt. Soul keep me. Let's see.
Have a very natural environment, natural land, and irregular topography here. Have a sense of like smoke and burning. Have multiple surface structures here, and there's subjects inside of these structures.
Boxes.
It's very like loud here. It sounds like a jet, loud roaring and just a loud jet overhead. That's like really all I can hear right now.
I know you touched on it earlier a little bit, but are you able to see the full state of the world right now? Everything from COVID to all of the division that's going on and just all of the violence. Are you able to see all of this stuff?
Crazy thing about it, we opened up.
It's very interesting.
All right, let's see. Matter of fact, we're going to type in, go to Gematria. We're going to type in Shakur, Tupac Shakur. Okay. I'm going to type in that. Tupac Shakur, death. Let's type that in. That's in Gematria. Now, y'all got to bear with me for a second, because I'm going to explain this to y'all. Clear this up. I got the link to Gematria in the chat room. Pardon, Poe. Now we're gonna read about Gematria. Fire letters. Now, fire letters. We all know Kabbalah, English language letters. Letters is each DNA strand corresponds to a fire letter or fire code. A fire code is in each DNA strand corresponds to a fire letter or fire code built up electromagnetic impulse of sound arranged in pattern sequences. Each fire letter corresponds to a dimensional frequency band conscious in the universal tree of life, or the 12 tree grid, built up upon electromagnetic impulses of sounds arranged in pattern sequences. Each fire letter corresponds to a dimensional frequency band of conscience in the universal tree of life, or the 12 tree grid. Collectively, all fire letter code sequences corresponds to the 12 DNA strand matrix, and that is original human genetic imprint designed to manifest 12 strands of DNA, which would allow their interdimensional travel and existence without deterioration of biological form. Live forever. The monks, the Buddhas. It must be repaired. Breathe, nigga, breathe. Build or activate. The original angelic human 12-strand DNA is called the diamond sun DNA, which is the original genetic constructed code of the human species. It's all tying into gematria. Also, fire letters are key codes of our DNA structural level that will be rekeyed to have access into these newly accessed higher reality light fields, multidimensional timelines. Timelines is within creational mechanics of holographic structures which manifest the holographic universe. There are two timelines per dimensional octave. So within our harmonic universe, making up the reality of 3D within Earth, within the three dimensions, timelines. And this is starting to occur in our subatomic layers, starting to drill down into our molecular, into our physical cellular form. Our physical cells are being rewired now, and our energetic template cells are to be encrypted with master key codes. Master key codes are the elemental re-encryption process of this avatar of ascension project as a part of the Aurora Guardian families and an adjustment that actually changes the coordination of your birth blueprint and its genetic imprint on the flesh, reincarnation of the die in the same, can come back in the same body. And encryption is a set of vibrations that hold energetics, that accesses upgraded fire letters and structured sets. I'm going to do that again. That accesses upgraded fire letters, gematria, instruction sets. We are being instructed to a new element from the earth, from the new earth that are specifically here to begin to assist in redesignating our current biology by the new earth elemental command and war races. Time vectors hold fire codes, the upcoming Gemini influence, and other cosmological arrangements around the June summer solids are projecting a deep process of saturation of primary aura color coding through the crystal kaleidoscope. The aura rays are plasma waves, patterns building layers of kaleidoscope color code shields, which geometry enters into the aura. I don't even want to read all that. We're going to go back to the gematria. So we're getting into gematria. I just explained to y'all what that gematria is on that level, and then we're going to keep going. But let me see. We typed in Tupac Shakur. Number is 769. Tupac Shakur death. Let's see what happened around that. Tupac Shakur death. 9/30/155. Lord Ray December 7th. Lord Ray December. Mercedes Benz. The Ross's birth of all. His name is Ra Hora Kahu. VIP. August 15th. Purple Priest. The Lock and the Key. Mortires. Oregon Energy. I don't know how to spell that word. This is stupid. Satan's number. Ori Hilton. Unhappy. Dinus Amram. Deputy. Cameroon. Abenaki children. That must be the light. All great. Interpretations. The great alien race. Erase people from record. The reign of Darquise. All from my brain. Pearly Gates. Flew ends the USA. Elizabeth Ann South. Stranger than fiction. Catholic false prophets. Age King of Aram. Psychological damage. Prometheus Prime. Sharon Street parking. Left eye of this my dog, y'all. Left eye of Osama. Of Diagnosed L. Madeline Serpent Sears, the Reptilian Queen B. S34FGC, the Goat of Menendez, aka Baphomet. Build It Better Britain, Our Elder Brother, hopefully. And these are all the energies that go around that. The original human DNA pattern is arranged into 12 dimensionalized mathematical patterns, each which is set, okay, each of which is set the blueprint for the DNA strand. Each strand is composed of 12 basic magnetic gnomes, female codes, and 12 basic electrical Dion, male codes. The 12 basic codes and the 12 accelerations code hold the mathematical program for each double helix strand, which combine to form a 12 vector codes. Now, I don't know if we got to keep on reading that, but we're going to go down to this. Earth-like since Luciferian rebellion, the foundation of the human DNA is miniaturized crystallized frequency, that is, patterns of electromagnetic light that magnetically group into crystalline form. These magnetic crystalline templates are referred to as DNA seed codes. The DNA seed codes template for one DNA strand is composed of 12 magnetic particle units and 12 electrical antiparticle units. Now, Each DNA strand represents a 5-letter code program sequence corresponding to one-dimensional frequency band of conscious. 24 seed codes equal one DNA strand. The level of frequencies that are exceeded into the personal magnetic field or monographic field will determine the level of DNA strand assembly that you possess. As a person pulls in more frequency bands from the dimensional unified fields, the personal frequency a secretion level rises, and thus more DNA codes can assemble and activate. Conscious transport is DNA fire codes are related to time vectors, lives and parallel universes, and this is what the gematria represent: your possibilities, past, futures, and all that. And as such, they are rational to being able to function in a conscious transport in between time fields. When there is change directed into planetary magnetic fields that shifts electromagnetism, whether natural or artificial, the result is that it is directly stimulating change to occur in the DNA and its fire codes. There are natural conscious transport functions in the diamond sun light body that have been mutated and reversed on the Earth to prevent their access. There are three main ways to describe the stages of conscious transport of the diamond sun plate that allow us to move our conscious between this point in time and another point in time or outside of time. These extend into further stages more complete, more complex than dream walking because they are direct functions of the activated diamond sun body that are transformation, transfiguration, transosculation, and transmigration, which I'm going to go back to what she was saying in this situation.
I also sense that there's like distant non-surface structures here. Okay, in the regular topography, there's mountains here, and the temperature's like a little, it's like cool here. Okay, I also sense like a lot of energetics here, and the ground feels like soft dirt or sand, and has like this weird like pesticide smell here as well, like chemicals. And then also it just has like this like gross, tart, bitter taste to it. Okay, so there's multiple surface structures here, and multiple subjects here.
Are you still watching over your friends and family during these tough times?
Yep, when they get lonely. And I talk to them through his music.
Have you met up with any of today's rappers on the other side, Tupac?
I'll always be around them.
You'll always be around them. That was a powerful message. Wow. Can you name any rappers that you've met on the other side? I know we've had rappers recently cross over, such as XXXTentacion, King Von, and many more.
No, I don't know him. So what he finna tell him is, even though they're here, I don't know him, but they know me. You know what I'm saying? In some type of way, I'm not familiar with, because he don't know King Von. He don't know the physical form of these cats that crossed over, but they know him. So y'all gonna find, this very interesting in his response. But yeah, he said, no, I don't know him, but it's kind of harder now. Some fans go by. And I put two and two together and say, these my people.
People also want to know if...
Like, oh, what's up, Tupac? King Von saying it's Tupac. Like, right, what's up? He's like, man, Joe, you been against the world rule? He said, oh, okay, too, you my fan. These two and two together, these my people. They don't have a physical body, so it's like a dream.
You've met up with family members on the other side, such as your mother. Are you with your mother, Tupac?
Always.
All of these subjects feel male, and I hear a lot of just voices. And then the subjects feel like they're wearing like these like thick material clothing, like really like nice, thick, high grade material clothing. And it also just feels like there's a lot of like energy here, like a lot of like energy, you know? It feels like something is going on molecularly. So this is kind of what I'm looking at. Okay, so basically I've got this like domed, pointed structure here, and then mountains, irregular topography in the background, spectrum. And then just like something over here that feels like stuff is like coming out of it, and like that's where that like weird pesticide like smell is coming from. Yeah, and it's like I smell it like over here, and then I smell it like from this structure. So I feel like there's like a connection here. You know, something's connecting these two. Okay.
Arbitrarily in that orbit.
The second, I think, and most important reason is because when you're tidally locked, what happens is the moon, from our perspective on Earth, you only see one side of the face, and it rotates at the same speed as the Earth is rotating, so we only get to see that same side. So what it allows is for clandestine operations on what they call the dark side of the moon, which really is not dark. We call it dark because it's on the far side that we can't see, but technically, because the moon has its own rotation on its own axis, all sides of the moon actually see the sun. So there really is no dark side of the moon, but the far side of the moon is where potentially there is clandestine operations, maybe even ancient bases, maybe even now current bases there that are now kept away from human eyes here on Earth.
The moon and the Earth are a weird system because they're so close in size. And so it's really rare for a body as small as the Earth, with as minimal a gravitational field as it has, to be able to actually lock a body like that into a tidal lock arrangement. It's very easy for Saturn and Jupiter, which are much more massive, to be able to maybe grab an object or even fission off a moon.
Okay, so this structure feels like it's kind of like wet or like covered in something, and it smells like heat. And it kind of sounds like bubbles, like a hot spring, you know? Like a geyser? You know, them big old holes, and there's hot water to the point where it bubbles. That's like exactly what this thing right here feels like to me. Yeah. It sounds like a loud like jet in a bathtub, just like an upset stomach. It like reminds me of water because it's like thin like water, but.
And we will need allies in order to do that. At least in the short term, we will need outside military assistance.
There's these kind of, it looks more like I don't know how to describe it, just like a bunch of tubes or a bunch of long things connected to these subjects. They all feel like they're all connected to this, and the subjects feel like they're emotionally like brain dead, but it feels like they're kind of stuck.
Okay, we're gonna see what she's talking about. She said emotional brain dead.
Blast out enough material. It's as if they're hitting something really solid, and where you see these mares, you're actually getting much closer to the skin of this surface. So whatever hits it, it's bouncing off of something that's a lot more solid than the regolith, which is the moon dust on the surface. And it's actually causing these craters to be very wide and shallow. They don't have any depth.
Can be explained why, as one NASA scientist said, the moon is inside out. What's on the surface of the moon should be inside.
To me, that suggests that the moon is an artificial body, and that it's on the interior of the moon that you actually have huge bases. And, there are things about the moon in terms of, first of all, how can a body that is only a quarter the size of the Earth in diameter be captured by the Earth. I mean, in terms of conventional physics, it's not possible. It wouldn't be. It's too big. And then why would it be tidally locked? What that does is create an area of the moon, the far side, which can't be observed from the Earth. But for those on the moon that have advanced technologies, that have established bases underneath the moon, they can have all their ships parked on the far side of the moon, visiting the Earth, doing whatever they need to do, monitoring the Earth, without us ever knowing what's there.
And dying, but not dying, like to the brink of death.
It's like he's telling me, he's almost begging me to not go in. He's placed his forehead onto mine. It's not on. It's like directly in front of me. It's directly in front of my head, and I can hear his voice telepathically. And there's this bright light.
How has your experience been on the other side so far? Can you tell us some of the most memorable parts of your life?
Ain't nobody ever coming. With my mom, that's all I miss. Damn, my bad.
Hey guys, welcome back to another video. It's me, Cody, here, and as you saw from that amazing intro, we have a very, very powerful session coming up, and it's not one that we have very often. This is one that's really going to touch your heart. It may make you a little bit sad, so I do warn you from the very beginning. This is not like some of our other sessions. It seems that young Pappy has had a pretty rough time on the other side, to say the least. But if you want to hear the full life story of young Pappy, moments of his life, and what led up to his death eventually, you can actually click the link. New series which we started, which hopes to immortalize the story of these spirits, the story of their lives. And not only are we giving spirits a voice now, but we are also allowing their life stories to live on this immortal thing we call the internet. So if you're interested in, get straight into this very heart-touching session. We're looking to get in contact with the spirit of young Pappy tonight. My spirit guides were able to confirm that you are here with us.
That's
are you
what it's like to be in hell.
Come through and speak tonight?
Purgatory. Oh Lord. They're trying to take me away. Probably the alien.
To take you away.
I'll bring him back
down.
down.
I'm not sure if that's what I heard, but I think I heard that.
Yeah. You see a man get out of here.
There seems to be a disturbance right now on the other side. I'm not too sure what's going on. I'm going to try to let things settle down because I'm not sure if I'm able to do anything from my end.
Hold on, let's see what she's talking about then.
I feel like crying. It's just overwhelming. This being is breaking himself, deteriorating himself to keep me out of this room. It's like
I don't want you in that box.
He's decomposing because of me to stop me from going in there.
Not like.
Let's see.
Young Pappy, I'm not too sure what's going on the other side, but if you're willing to, we would love to ask you some questions tonight about the day you died and see how you're doing right now on the other side. God, have you met up with God on the other side?
To be honest, bro, I think he forgot about me. Or am I tripping? Damn.
You seem to sound a little bit confused. How has your experience been on the other side so far?
Why am I here? Ain't nobody coming. Ain't nobody ever do.
You died in 2015 and it's now 2021. Are you aware of the time that's went by?
Brian. Hey, where's my bro?
Your bro? Have you met up with other rappers on the other side like King Von or L.A. Capone?
Nah, bro. Oh, they got his ass in darkness. You know where they at?
Do I know where they are? We recently just did a session with King Von, XXX Tentacion, and
them niggas floating around in the moon, kicking it.
Where they are now, I'm not too sure, but they were here not too long ago. He's out here
killing niggas like you would.
Are you stuck on?
But let's see.
Like their actual eyes, but like sunglasses looking things over their eyes. Not a very, no expression on their face. And besides this like part in the middle, which looks pretty white, everywhere else is just black, like black suit jacket type of looking thing, black pants, black shoes, everything, black.
You're about to understand for the first time why the secrecy agenda is so important to the reptilians. They are doing stuff, lots of stuff that they think is really important for their own future. And they definitely know that humanity would be outraged if there was widespread awareness of what the reptilians are doing.
To run and jump in, and it pushes me out. I run and jump in, and it's pushing me out. And I run and I jump in, and it's a battle, forceful thing. Is just, I see this, and it's just like clips.
Wow, clips. Let's see.
Can't see nobody.
Always night. It's called darkness.
If you're stuck in a dark place, a lower dimension,
when you gang banging out here, this was gonna be like for your ass when you cross over.
Pray for help.
I'm gonna go to the fourth and fifth dimension.
Get out of the place that you're in.
I ain't trying to come back to this shit again.
Do you understand what I'm saying? I'm not sure if we're still connected.
He was out in Chicago clapping. Yeah.
Yeah, are you okay on the other side?
I ain't even see the shooter. He just hit me. Wow. And I failed everybody around me.
Do you know if this was an inside job? Maybe one of your friends could have set you up. I know that.
You gotta imagine taking a walk or walking, and from right there you on the ground, and you fading in and out. That's just how quick it happened. That's how I said, look, you don't know what the fuck going on. You know, you waking up in darkness, aka moon shadow makers, kicking it with aliens, the reptilians, depending on your spiritual path, or you can go up to the fourth and fifth dimension. Or like Pac, you can choose to come back and do this shit all over again. But you might come back in Iraq or Iraq or Pakistan, and fuck all that.
That this happens a lot in these kinds of situations.
Nah, man.
Do you have any regrets from life that you feel comfortable discussing with us or sharing?
Purgatory, everything.
Wow, that's very strong. If I'm going to be honest, I'm not too familiar with your life or the situations that you may have gotten into, but I can tell from your replies that you're very sincere and that you were in a very tough place. I'm sure that if you pray to God and ask for forgiveness, He'll pull you out of the place you're in.
You already know he fucked up even Joe.
If we continue to bury our heads in the sand and pretend that the problem does not exist, then there is no hope for humanity. Freedom begins with understanding, and understanding begins with the end of secrecy. Controlling what you know leads to slavery. Breaking that information deadlock ends slavery. Every colonizer wants to prevent those who are colonized from protesting the colonization. Protests inevitably lead to struggles for independence. It is inevitable. Preventing those protests is what the secrecy agenda is all about.
Words don't go far, man. It's the actions.
Even if you're a little doubtful, I still encourage you to pray, and I will also pray with you after this session on your behalf to try to get you out of the dark place that you're stuck in right now.
If you did, you won't be praying. That's the kindest, man.
You have a lot of fans, and they all love you very, very much. I'm sure that after, when I put this video out and they see it, they're all going to be praying for you too on the other side.
Like a blank tank, water, black water. You guys make me speechless.
You're most very welcome, and I'm going to try very, very hard to help you. Putting to the side all of this negativity that's happened to you, can you tell us some of the most memorable parts of your life?
Being there with Mom and Ryan. That's all I miss. Damn, my bad.
When we get through this tough spot together and you get out of where you are right now, do you look forward to meeting up with other Chicago legends that have passed on?
One day, man.
I also wanted to ask you if you have any messages for your family or friends, because it is possible for them to see this video and hear you once again.
Damn, man, I'm sorry. It's just the gangs, man. This ain't the last time.
I do feel the energy levels getting a little low.
You gotta remember, he came back, reincarnated, he started realizing this dark place with no body. Damn, man, how long I'm gonna do this shit? I can't forget when I go back down because I'm trying to make it to the 4th and 5th. Matter of fact, I'm trying to see some light. I am not trying to be in this dark ass water tank in the moon.
For you on the other side, it's starting to get a little bit more quiet too. So I do want to ask if there's anything else you want to say before I consult with my spirit guide George about helping you through your situation on the other side. You can come through and you can say anything that you wish to say to your family, your friends, and your fans.
Let's go here and then we're gonna go there.
Remember how the slavers in the American past tried so hard to prevent their slaves of African heritage from learning how to read? Controlling what people know is the key to control. It is the key. So every time that you see someone in the major media ridicule someone who seriously talks about UFOs or extraterrestrials or even remote viewing, you know what is happening. It is all part of the effort to control what you know. Every single media personality in the mainstream media who participates in this process of ridicule is directly assisting the efforts to control what you know. And thus, they are directly participating, knowingly or unknowingly, in your own enslavement. Remember what the famed physicist Stephen Hawking once said, "As I grow older, I am more convinced than ever that we are not alone." But remember that he also said, "If so, they will be vastly more powerful and may not see us as any more valuable than we see bacteria."
Let's see. I was alone today. Man, I can't even. I feel them though. It's good.
So as you can see from this session, young Pappy has had quite wow, I can't even describe what young Pappy must have been going through since 2015. I'm not sure what it's like for spirits on the other side. I'm not sure how time works, but something tells me that young Pappy has been stuck in the position that he's in since the day he died in 2015, meaning that he's been stuck in a very dark place where, as he said, nobody comes and nobody ever comes to see him. And so hearing this is very heartbreaking, and of course we don't usually have sessions like this, so it was quite shocking to hear.
You're gonna hear a lot in Chicago.
Let me know what you think in the comment section down below, and let me know if you're going to be praying for young Pappy, because I will definitely be trying to do a session with him again to reach out to him and let him know that his fans are praying for him.
You're gonna see a lot of dark spaces in between chakras. And George, let's take him out, George. George, his spiritual light worker, want to speak, y'all.
Hey everybody, welcome. This is your host,
Fuck all that. Come on, George.
Third is, and it's just so beautiful because we are able to hear Jesus' message again, right now, here in this time and space. So it's really beautiful. On their way, life provokes them to find their own unique path. Light workers are nearly always solitary individuals, not fitting into fixed societal structures. A note on the notion of light worker. The word light worker may evoke misunderstanding, since it lifts out a particular group of souls from the rest. It may be taken to suggest that this particular group is somehow superior to the others, i.e., those not working for the light. This whole line of thought is at odds with the very nature and intent of light work. Let us state briefly what is wrong with it. First, claims of superiority are generally unenlightened. They block your growth towards a free and loving consciousness. Second, light workers are not better or higher than anyone else. They simply have a different history than the ones not belonging to this group. Because of this particular history, which we will discuss below, they have certain psychological characteristics which distinguish them as a group. Third, every soul becomes a light worker at some stage of its unfolding. So the label light worker is not reserved to a limited number of souls. The reason we use the word light worker, despite possible misunderstandings, is because it carries associations and stirs memories within you that help you remember. There is a particular convenience to it as well, since the term is frequently used in your current spiritual literature. Historical roots of light workers. Light workers carry within them the ability to attain spiritual awakening faster than other people.
Godspeed
They
TV.
carry the inner seeds for rapid spiritual awakening.
Like,
With regard
subscribe,
to
share.
this, they seem to be on a faster track than most people.
Gotcha. Like, subscribe, share. If you ain't, sign up for hoodx.com. Catch me on Pomo on Facebook. If you want me to do something, if you want me to lift the veil, if you want me to create a cross-parallel dimensional situation, send me the link, send it just in a comment. Do a show on this, do a show on that, and I get down with the Bruce Lee style. Like I said, it's been a pleasure. And I'm not going to make y'all wait a while. And remember, man, breathe. Breathe in, stomach out, chin down with a V in your neck, count to 10. Come on, we're going to do it together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, I got my rakes up. I got my unknown rakes. Whatever rakes y'all got, Buddha got the trays. You know what I'm saying? UGD crack the fork, crack the rakes. You know what I'm saying? 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now breathe. Breathe out. And when you breathe all the way out, count to 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And breathe in again.